Hi, and welcome to part 2 of the amazing Deep Dive series. Today we are going to be looking at a deep dive into the 13th organization. As you can see, I have just fully embraced the PowerPoint presentation mode because it just works super nicely. But to get into it, we're going to start off with some basic officer roles in the 13th. You can see that I have the same chart as last time, but this time I added a little bit of spice in there with the strategic genius tree and the ambassador tree. So let's talk a bit about what happens when you want to be an officer in the 13th. So basically, we don't typically take officers outside of corporal and sergeant, and corporal really is if we're desperate enough for that. Most of the time, we aren't. At least I try not to be. But you know how it is. People go inactive, that's life. You find some new people to take over. When you start an officer, usually start with the officer cadet rank, which is not even on here because it's not a true officer role. It's basically we're teaching you how to be an officer, so you have no responsibility at all, because it'd be fucking cruel, mate. No, don't do that to people. But once we feel that you have the grasp on how meetings go, how logistics work, all of that stuff, you can then choose what kind of officer you want to be, and you can have multiple tags. You're not prohibited from doing that, but you usually have one that is like your main one. And people most often start off in the administrative tree if they want to be involved in how to do meetings and kind of the behind the scenes things. Then we often have logistics people, but most of the time, and this is like 80% of the time, it's just combat officers, because combat officers are the most all round kind of thing. Doing a bit of Luddy, doing a bit of admin work. That's how it is. So yeah, usually start off with people going to lieutenant. And what can you do as a lieutenant, right? The main thing is that you can now see all the channels almost, except for top brass and high command, which I'm going to get into later. But you can see all the division channels that you couldn't see before, except for a few of the high command for that specific division. Some of the channels there you can see, but you can't write in them, because when it comes to the divisions, kind of the division have charge over you. So if it's two lieutenants and one of them is a division lieutenant, as long as it's division specific, that division technically, like that lieutenant technically outranks the other lieutenant, so long as it's relevant to that division. Kind of how it works. But some overall rules that we have for the officers. Let's start with just plain officers: lieutenant, captains, and majors. Even though majors are kind of a pseudo leader role, they still fall under the first category. These guys are able to field promote up to specialist, and they're able to do promotions up to and with the sergeant at meetings. But it's pretty important to note that they can field promote, like during an operation, during free play, up to and with specialists. It doesn't happen too often because it's not supervised. So in order to not have it misused, like it's not something we do a lot. But if someone really shows that they can do it, a lieutenant could technically field promote someone to sergeant, to specialist, which is a lot of responsibility for, the lowest rank of officer. Next up, what they can do is they are able to accept and confirm new members. It falls on all the officers to sort new members and help them out in joining the clan. And the second you become an officer, that's part of your that's part of your job description. It's actually one of the most important parts of being an officer, is that the more officers we have, the more availability we have to help new members get into the clan and join. So when you're that, you're also promoted in the in-game regiment, so you can invite people there. You can invite people here, update roles, all of that good stuff. Next thing is, on the slide I've only written kick and ban trolls, but it's just, they have a whole bunch, like the whole toolkit for handling problems. Anything happens, someone spams a channel, someone puts malicious links, someone comes in here and is an asshole to everyone. They can do everything. mute people, kick people, ban people, delete messages, manage text channels, all those things. They can do it. It's something that they have to do with great care because while they have the ability to, it's, a lieutenant probably shouldn't, it should probably take more for a lieutenant to just ban someone straight out of the gate than a major. Like, they have more experience with it and they have more trust with it, if that makes sense. It really is just for people who are here with malicious intent. They can't just kick or ban people as a punishment for being insubordinate, for example. They can't punish or use their power on someone who is an active part of the regiment, right? If someone's being annoying in voice channel and stuff like that, they can disconnect them, they can put them on cooldown and stuff like that. But they don't have, like, I don't allow them to kick and ban people who are an active part of the clan. That's not what the roles are for. They are also able to make operation posts, and they're able to make announcements, which, it's logical. And they are also able to fill out logistic orders for upcoming operations or just general orders. That's what they do. Then we have the top brass. Here we have more of the emergency powers sit here. Something happens in game, they can make split-second decisions to that, change doctrine or plans, all of those things, especially if it falls under their specific specialization, right? So say we had an issue where someone has found out our logistical code pretty bad. Any quartermaster can just straight out say, we're changing codes, we're doing it right now. Don't have to ask anyone, I just do it. That is super, super good. Because that means if I'm not on, we have someone else who's qualified to do stuff like that. That's pretty much what it is about all of these. The lieutenant colonel can, specifically the combat tree, there are some extra job descriptions. But lieutenant colonel can go in and say, the boys are fucking tired. Your operation is cancelled. Or we don't work with these people for operations. Or we're doing an operation here, even though it's not scheduled for actually happening. This is super important. We have to do this. All of those things. Strategic Genius is the same, though they don't really have anything split second that falls under their jurisdiction. They can kind of force a plan on other people, but we don't have any strategic geniuses, so it's fine. Ambassadors have a little more power in terms of handling, external affairs. Like, hey, I have a problem with your member about this. The ambassadors can use a little more power here in handling these situations. But that's about it. They are really good for dividing out work, so we don't have one person who gets burned out by doing all the work for the rest of the people. Really important to kind of flatten it out like that. So if I plan an op, I can be like, I need the quartermasters to do this, I need the secretary general to make this document, I need the strategic genius to come up with a plan if I don't do it myself, although that never happens because my favorite part. All of that stuff, I can make some of the the captains or lieutenant colonels handle gathering people or making the operation announcements, all of those things. Just for fun, quickly looking at this and saying what posts we actually have people in, because I know that there's probably going to be some of my own clan members who come up and ask me after this, who do we actually have in what positions? We have me as the field marshal, then we'll have one general, that's Papa Trotsky. We have an autistic wonder, which is sarcasm. Secretary General is my Russian officer Disar. We have 3 quartermasters, and that is Hobbit, Prexoda, and Eagleis. We don't have a lieutenant colonel. We did have one, but they were promoted general. Congratulations, Papa. And we don't have a strategic genius or ambassador. We also don't have a division-specific lieutenant colonel because we don't have anyone the divisions can be managed currently because we don't have too much activity with Wolf being pretty good at being independent. So we don't really need that right now. Plus, we don't have anyone who's flexible enough to stretch far enough in time zones to actually handle that. And if we look a bit further down, we only have one propaganda person. We do have paper pushers and secretaries. We have supply officers. We have both captains and lieutenants. Don't have any strategists or cartographers, envoys, or counselors. We have majors and captains and lieutenants in all divisions. Yeah, I was almost forgetting what I can do, and here is the most fun part. I can do whatever the fuck I want. No kidding. I can, but I don't. There are some restraints, because making decisions without involving the rest of your officers is a really good way of not having officers. I'm probably going to mention this again later. It's just, I can't say this enough. Like, don't fuck over the people who help you. That's just a really bad idea. But essentially, I can make any decision I want and do whatever the heck I think is best. But typically, what I do is that I talk to other people about it. We agree on it. There are some things where I don't. Like, I can make channels. I can remove channels. If I think, hey, we should probably have a text channel for this, I can just put it in. Same for Papa. As a general, you can also just do that. The only thing where we really have to, where it begins to make sense to talk about it is like, do we want to revamp a whole category? Do you want to add a role or rank or remove a role or rank? What do you think about that? Do we want to revamp the whole Discord layout? Yes or no? We talk about that. And then we take it to the top brass because sometimes they see problems that we don't see, So we can make whatever decision we want, and we can kick or ban or whatever, all of that. We have the power to do that, but we don't because it's really bad for the cooperation within the officer corps. And you really want cooperation, and like you want to work together for making a better clan. And that doesn't happen if you make decisions that just fly over the head of everyone else. Then we go into some Discord layout things and what the different ranks have. And we start off with the clan leaders. We have a text channel and a voice channel. That's it. Just have a high command for talking about if the top brass is doing things that we don't like, or if there's a top brass person who's like, has he completely lost it? I don't know. We don't really use it that much for that. It's more like, there's a bit of banter, and then like things that we're talking about. As I said before, like, do we want to revamp the whole server? Then we might have for weeks talk about how it should be done, or how it should be formatted. Do we want to introduce like some fancy new thing on the ranks? And we talk about it there before we bring it down. Next step is top brass. They have exactly the same. Yeah, if we think an officer is not doing a good job, we don't want to talk about that in a channel where they can read it. So we do it here and discuss it with the top brass. That's pretty much what it's for. It's not used a lot, actually. High command is being used more than top brass is, which is interesting. Then we have officer corps. And it's daily messages here. Yeah. But the top secret channel is the sort of day-to-day, I got a report from this clan that our member here did a dumb thing, or this clan would like to work with us on an operation this day. Do we want to do that? Or what are we thinking about this happening? Have we gotten this yet? Should we, do we? All of those things related to officer relevant things that we might not want to tell the enlisted yet. Or I need this done, could you do that? Those sort of things that are, well, officer relevant. Then we have strategic command, and this is super important, guys. The best tip I can give you on this structure stuff here, separate strategic command from top secret. All of your strategic discussions are going to be cluttered up and it's just going to get lost in the amount of messages that you have in just officer chat. It just doesn't work. And people are going to not read anything because they have to read through all the other messages and find the relevant ones. Just collect it one place, have the conversation one place. It's so much easier, so much smoother. And other people who wasn't part of the conversation will actually want to read it, or at least there's a higher chance. And this way, you don't burn people out. Even though you might have the best officers that you could ever wish for, they work hard all the time. At some point, they are going to get tired. This is going to mitigate that. Might not be a large amount, but anything counts. The longer you have your officers, the more they enjoy being here because it's convenient and things are set up sensibly, the longer they're going to stay before they go inactive. That's my best tip here. Then we have standing orders, which is basically just me or any officer saying, well, it's mostly me who's written there until now. It's a new edition where it's basically I say, this war we're going to focus on this and this. And then like week to week, I will be like, we need to focus on this region not being lost or recapturing this place because we need it for this operation, or we need the partisans to scout this out. And then I ping the partisan leader so he knows. All of those things is what happens here. Basically just the clan leaders and the top brass giving orders to the other officers in a place where it doesn't get cluttered in texting. Again, making the amount of shit you have to read less, so there's a higher likelihood that people actually read it and do what you ask of them. Then we have some admin channels, and this is Operation Rebirth, which is just, here is our clan recruitment poster that we post on FOD. It's the only thing there. It's just convenience. Making it easy to find, easy to copy. You don't have to read through stuff or where did I put it. It's just there. And then we have Stash 1 and 2. And that is for pretty much the same thing as the recruitment post. It posts that we need frequently. Text messages we need frequently. Like when someone joins the clan, we give them a message about the important channels and what is in them and what you use them for. So they don't show up and is completely overwhelmed by the 20 new text channels they have. Right? That's this kind of stuff that we have in there. Things that are really nice to have readily available and easily searchable. And then we have the command room. That's it. We have like 2 voice channels and we only use one of them. And that's command room. And that's where we have our meetings, weekly meetings. Every week we have a meeting. We talk about all the important stuff. Going to get into that later. Then we move on to the enlisted. We have the administrative block, which is announcements. This is clan stuff. We have a calendar that we do every week during the meeting. What are we going to do next week? Then we have promotions, which is literally just, you did a really good job, so we have promoted you to have this rank. It's just us praising our members, and this adds a lot of retention, and people stay for these things. It's kind of like Steam achievements for some people. Then we have applications, which is basically just, I think I deserve this role because I did this and this. That's pretty much it. An important note is that applications is based on the officers actually seeing this in action. So new people who ask for things is most likely going to be a no. I'm sorry to any new person who watches this because they think RG is such a cool guy and he'll give me all the things I ask for. No. It's based on merit. You have to actually be good at it, and the only way we make sure that you are is by seeing you do it. Sorry about that. That's just, life is tough. So you apply for it, and then, we look at it at the meeting, and then that's it. Then we have the useful ... which is useful resources for the war effort. No, that doesn't render on Discord, I know, but it's what it's called. And it's basically just it's just a phone book of useful links for sites that do useful things, and a short description under each of them for what they do. Here's a map tool. Here's an operation tool. Here's a logistics tool. Here's a whatever. Things that are useful to have for people to easily access that doesn't get lost in the endless flood of messages. That's what it is. The next block we have is logistics headquarters. It has requests, which is where the officers ask for things for operations. And then we have coordination, which is where the enlisted coordinate, I'm going to make this, and I'm going to need someone to come by with a truck or a flatbed because I don't have that already. Right? So that's how we do that. Then we have intelligence. We have 2 channels there as well. Reports, which is just, I found out this thing that is super nice to know, so I'm going to tell you guys in this channel. It's so that we don't get a fuck ton of maps of people who did something dumb and found out something interesting in mess hall. That's pretty much it. Don't clutter general with this stuff. You can put it here. Then we have recon intel, which is us specifically asking for intel on a specific topic. We're going to do an op here. I need someone to give me a map of this location, or I need to find out if this place has a storm cannon, because then it would be able to hit our storm cannon. Stuff like that. Moving on, we have standard comms and operation comms. Standard comms is, well, general mess hall. It's just a general channel for Foxhole things. That's it. Then we have a mess hall voice channel where it's just, I'm playing Foxhole and I want to chat with you guys while I'm playing Foxhole. Not necessarily do anything coordinated, maybe not. I'm just here to chill, not here to be super pro, go hard. Just here to chill and play. Then we have some channels that I didn't put on here because it's just basic Discord channels. Like we have a bunch of channels that are visible to anyone, regardless of if they're in the clan or not. And that's just unsecure general and pictures and stuff like that, and meme channels. All of those dumb things that you kind of need so that people will spam there instead of spam where people have conversation. That kind of stuff. And then we have operation comms. And they are quite extensive. Here is a picture of it. We have operations, which is where we announce that we're going to be doing things, where we're going to be doing it, and when we're going to be doing it. On these, the enlisted then replies with attendance, basically saying, I'll be there on time, I'll be there delayed, or I won't be there at all. And then there's a 4th one, which is I'll be there for logistics, which is I will be there an hour before and help with doing logistics until, so that most things are ready for the operation. That's super good. Then we have gathering point, which is where the enlisted can talk about the operation posts that we got. It's also, if someone has op-related questions, like what is going to happen on the op or during the operation, what is going on right now, stuff like that, goes into gathering point, so it's separated from mess hall. So if people are sitting in mess hall, they can have conversation there without annoying us, and we can have conversation here without annoying them. Super nice quality of life right there. Next, we have all the voice channels. They are, there's quite a few. I know of many clans who have more, and I know of many clans who have none at all. But we have this layout, and we'll probably be expanding it as we grow. But as we talked about last time, we put people into squads, infantry squads, tank squads, all of those stuff. As you can see, we have a voice channel for every single one. Infantry squad 1 goes in alpha, infantry squad 2 goes in bravo, and so on. Tank group 1, okay, you're a tank, all 3 people in this channel. Next tank, next channel. Next tank, next channel. So on and so forth. The artillery boys go into the artillery corps. All of that good stuff. Last, we have the 2 allied groups, which is if anyone comes into our Discord to coordinate with us, they have a voice channel that they can use, and we'll know, and the people who are in the clan and don't know, they'll see they're in the allied group, so it's not some of ours. Stuff like that. Then we have debrief, which is where we go for getting feedback about operations. This one's super important. And we don't use the voice channel a lot, but it's super important that you as a leader or an officer makes yourself available. Like, make it not feel scary to message you with feedback, because the only way to improve your game and how you run operations is by people telling you what's going on. Often, what we pick up as officers as problems, it might be problems, but sometimes there's an underlying problem that actually caused it to begin with, and if we just addressed that problem, we wouldn't have ours to begin with. Excuse me. So it's super important to give the enlisted a way to tell us what they saw, how they interpreted stuff. Because often getting that angle or getting that view on what you're doing is what helps you understand how it went wrong or how it went well as well. Like sometimes some magic just happens and you're like, how do I recreate that? And the enlisted can help you say, it was super nice that you did this. That's what it's for. Moving on to how decisions are made. We have a council kind of thing. Basically, when we want to make larger decisions, we have this vote system. Every single top brass rank has one vote. Right now, as you can see, there's 7. So there'll never be a tie, except that the clan leadership also has 1 vote each, and we're also an uneven amount. We make 10 in total, which is why the clan leadership has tiebreaker, and the field marshal's tiebreaker counts for more than the general's tiebreaker. If we wanted to, the clan leadership could also make decisions around the top brass, but this is generally not advised, as I mentioned earlier. It's a really good way to stop having top brass, is what I can tell you. As you can see, the officers don't have any votes, but they're part of the discussion and they can give input to the discussion, and that way have an influence on what is decided in the end by giving better perspective on what's being discussed. Sometimes they notice things that we don't see, or they have previous experience that we don't understand or haven't had ourselves, and that way they can give really valuable insight in the problem that we're sitting with, which is also why often we have these large discussions or these large problems that we need to address. We involve everyone. That way it's a lot easier to catch bigger mistakes that we could do. And since we have everyone gathered for the meeting on Saturday, we always have these people that we can ask. Speaking of meeting, this is our general meeting template. We do a meeting every week. Usually it's on Saturday, and usually it's on a regular time. We always make a calendar for the coming week, so we give the enlisted a chance to. So if they want to, they can plan their own week in accordance to if there's an op they want to make or stuff like that. It's like, hey, RG is doing an op this day. I'd like to join that. Make sure I don't have anything else planned there. Stuff like that. It really helps a lot in getting people to show up for operations if you're out in good time saying, this is happening this day, because people want to join. But if they don't know something's happening, they're going to make other plans, right? This is a good way to help them play the game. Next thing we do is that we review applications. So we collect all the applications that we've gotten throughout the week. Basically, I am this person, put out a name, and then the role that they requested and why they requested it. Then we answer it with yes or no. And if we answer no, we say why we answer it no. Like, I want to be an artillery gunner. And we're like, we've literally never seen you fire an artillery piece. We cannot promote this. Then they know what they have to do so that we can promote them. Or we contact them directly and be like, we would love to teach you this. Or you say that you know how to do this because you've done it a lot. I would love to let you show me that you can do it. So next time we're doing artillery, for example, we're going to put you on a gun so that we can vouch for you being able to do it. It's a super good way to get your application through. But please, for the love of God, don't apply for something before you've actually been to a couple operations, because this is not a way to ask for training. This is a way to get training if you deserve it, because you've actually actively done or tried to prove that you can do it. Next thing we do is review our jobs list, which is just we have a document of things that we want to do and who is working on it. And we're like, has progress been made? And then we check off the ones that has, and the ones that hasn't, we don't check off, obviously. Then we have an important part, which is the war plan. It's basically just how is the situation right now, and what are we going to focus on in the coming week? That's about it. Like, yeah, the channel that I mentioned earlier, which was war plan, is, or I don't even remember what I called it. Jesus Christ. Standing orders. It's getting a little late because I already fucked this up 3 times. And I have a full recorded session of this. Like 30 minutes where my microphone wasn't on. It's wonderful. So yeah, war plan is basically what is decided there is usually what is put over in the standing orders as to what we're doing in the coming week. And then we have special business, which is just if some of the officers have had a brainwave that is just so good, and then we take it up here. Or if we have a problem, someone did something dumb, or we had something happen throughout the week where we have to look at it as the officers and make a decision on it, we put that there. So as an example, I included this over here, where this would be a meeting where I was having the chair, which basically means I'm running the meeting. So I give the meeting direction and I say, okay, this is too much of a tangent. Now we move back to the topic at hand. And then attending is basically just what officers are present. And I just picked the 3 people that was there while I was making this because I was chatting with some of the members. Then we make the calendar, put in the date. Sometimes we don't. It doesn't really matter, to be fair, as long as the calendar and the date, or the date on the calendar is true or correct. Then we get an application that would be like this. So Echo has requested officer cadet. And then we write yes or no. In this case, it would be no, because we don't need any more officer cadets right now. And you contribute nothing of exceptional value or whatever. Or yes, totally, you're really good at logistics and we need a logistics person. And then we would promote him. Then we review the jobs list, as I mentioned earlier. Write a war plan, and then we have special business. And I guess here reformat a text channel or a category. We bring it up, then we discuss it, get input, and then we vote about it with the top brass. Or like if there's just a unanimous feeling of, yeah, we all want this, we don't vote, because yeah, it wouldn't make sense anyway. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to tell you guys, and nothing really comes to mind as something I want to talk about right now. Plus, we're reaching like 32 minutes, so I think I'm going to give you guys a breather, give myself a breather here. It's been wonderful recording this again. As I said earlier, I have a 30-minute recording with absolutely no sound because I just got a new headset. I don't know if you can hear a difference. I hope you can. Should be slightly better. So that was fun. If you have any input on what you would like part 3 to be about, I have some topics I'm thinking of, but if there's something specifically you want to know something about, please do write it in the comments. As you can see on some of the other videos, I do actually read them. Yeah, it's wild. I have no subscribers and I read my comments. Of course I do. But if there's something where you're like, I want to know how this works, I'm super interested in logistics, or I'm super interested in how you write plans for operations, stuff like that, put in the comments. Gonna check it, see if there's something that people want to know more than other, and I'm probably going to do a video about that next. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Certainly did, and I hope you have a good day.